to BT. You're watching us on a Friday morning, approaching 7:46. We're talking right now about coping with the COVID-19 pandemic mentally. A new study out of UBC examined the mental health of a wide range of age groups, and the study found that people aged 60 and older actually coped better with the pandemic in terms of their mental health. And we've got the author of the study right now joining us live, Patrick Klaiber. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, of course. This is fascinating. So first of all, tell us why adults 60 and older fared better emotionally during the pandemic.
Yeah, so what we found in our study, what we saw is that older adults were more psychologically resilient than younger and middle-aged adults during the early weeks of the pandemic. And that might be because of several reasons. One is older adults have more life experience, and that might have helped them cope better with stress during the pandemic. If you've been through a couple of things in your lives, you might have a other sense of certainty that some stressful things will disappear. Also, young and middle-aged adults were overall more concerned about the threat of COVID-19. And when we took a closer look at the data, we saw that younger adults were more worried about losing their job, not reaching a goal, or their finances.
But I would have thought, go ahead.
So these might have been like two factors that contribute to why older adults fared better emotionally.
I would have thought it would be more stressful for older adults because their particular age group is susceptible to the virus. But can you explain why that wasn't always the case?
That might have been because while you physically distance, your risk of contracting the virus is lower. So you had some kind of control, like how many people you've seen in your life, but you didn't have so much control about losing your job. Or think about someone who is struggling with homeschooling their children, but also working from home at the same time. That can be a very stressful time for them.
Absolutely. I think of my parents. They're both retired. They don't have to deal with kids in the house. And there's a lot of factors that young adults or young parents have to deal with that they probably don't. So on the other end of the spectrum, why do young adults have such a difficult time coping emotionally with the pandemic right now?
Yeah, we saw that young adults are more at risk for like loneliness or like negative emotions during the pandemic. And what we saw is that in their lives, they often had like their normal stressors, like the normal stressful things, maybe a conflict with their partner or something else. But then on top, they also had these like economic worries, not like worries about their jobs or their finances. And especially for younger people, losing a job can be an existential threat. And in addition, what we also saw is that younger people had more problems creating positive events in their lives. Older adults in our study had way more positive things to report. They reported positive remote social interactions via phone or Zoom on 3 out of 4 interview days, so on 75% of days, whereas young adults had a far lower rates here. So that's another thing young adults could learn from older adults is creating these positive events in your life that can really help offset stress.
I really want to hone in on that as we close it out, because is it sort of like there's not a novelty to young people for doing these remote interactions because that's been a part of their life, and for adults they saw more positivity in like say a Zoom chat with their grandkids because it's sort of a new thing for them?
That might have been like one of the positive things that older adults might get more familiar with technology. Like one of our study participants reported how great she felt when she had a first Zoom call with her grandchildren. Yeah. And I think this is a heartwarming story to see that older adults were able to really harness technology during the pandemic.
And as we close it out, how do you hope the research will help bolster mental health programs and strategies for communities?
Yeah, as we see as COVID-19 cases are on the rise again in BC, I think it's important to look at the mental health of people. And we see that, for example, for younger and middle-aged adults, these like finances and losing a job is really like a big struggle. So policy needs to address this, but also for older adults, it seems they cope fairly well, but we need to keep in mind that they're like the most susceptible to the virus. So that needs to be addressed as well.
Fascinating work. Thank you so much for joining us today, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right. You have a great day. That's Patrick Klaiber from UBC, and we'll be back with